I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now? Dr. Asma, please start.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the workshop. I can't hear you, Mahin. I don't know. What about at your end? Okay. Welcome to the workshop. Good morning, everyone. The workshop title of today is How to Write a Research Proposal. It's me, Dr. Asma, Manager Research Operations and Development, associated with the University of Karachi for the last 15 to 16 years. I did my PhD from Department of Botany, University of Karachi. I have been mentor for the postgraduate researchers and co-supervised a lot of theses and full theses, and in collaboration with different organizations, national and international. I have published 26 research articles in journals of national and international repute. One book I have written, and I contributed one chapter in renowned search engine. I worked in collaboration with various national renowned institutes and international as well. Being a researcher, I would like to ask something from the participants that come to your inbox. What do you think about research? Because if you write a research proposal, it is a very basic prerequisite. We get what is research? Just write what is in your mind so that I can get an idea.
Well, I think research is there. This one is to find something new.
Oh, that's good. Anyone else? Yes, Karishma. We write research to cover the things which hasn't been explored yet. Yes. Okay. So
Hello.
the difference between search and research. What is search? Find something. If I ask, where is my pen? Someone shows it to me that here it is. So it means it exists somewhere and I'm finding it. But what is research? Uncover new information, what you are contributing with the passage of time you have invested in doing research. So why we do research? Some time to get our degrees. It is mandatory to do research for your master's, bachelor's, or PhD, thesis. Some people are passionate about to provide a solution to the researchers' community. Some investigate laws of nature to make new discoveries and develop new products for the for the beneficent for the community. These products, they can improve our life. So all these information cover under the umbrella of research. There are two different perspectives: individual perspective and university perspective. Individually, there is a research thirst. I'm very much passionate about research activities. I want to contribute something new in the scientific world. I need recognition. I like to be recognized. I like to learn what is going on in internationally, worldwide. For the teaching perspective as well. If I want to apply for a grant, so I need to do research. Different national and international funding agencies, they open the call for proposals, and we have to write grant proposals as well. So we have to, they invest in our research as well. University perspective, it enhance the ranking of the university. The more faculty and students they do their research, they will, inculcate in the rankings or QS rankings or national or institutional framework. If you are a PhD in botany, but my specialization is marine botany. So I'm very much passionate about and the plant-like organisms, they develop oceanic. So we use 19 catastrophic, things. So if your topic is quite catchy, you can do very much, promising research in your field. So if you have well-defined aims and objectives, so it helps to proceed further in your research goals. I would suggest when you are entering in the field of research, you need a supervisor, obviously. So choose wisely. The supervisor play an important role in your academic career. Depending upon their expertise, if they are able to guide you timely or not. So it's up to you to choose your supervisor as per your understanding, as per your will. So what research proposal is? Uh, Research proposal is basically a statement of intent. What you have intention to do research in your specific area. It is basically an article that you share with the academic committee, your supervisor, to justify why that research problem is important. Right. So, what are the practical ways through which upon will investigate that research problem? So, it is another academic document. So you need to understand the audiences of to whom you are representing your research proposal. Number one is your supervisor or the committee. They have to approve the idea you are presenting. And of course, yourself. Are you prepared? Do you have a specific knowledge about your topic? So these two audiences you are addressing. Right, types of research proposal, as I told you earlier, that for the degree of master's or the postdoc or MPhil, so you have to answer a research problem. question based on existing knowledge, right? You have to analyze what the problems exist around you, around the world. So that so that you can create a significant new contribution to the knowledge. First, you need to understand the basic template, right? The basic template of a research proposal. Uh, it varies university to university, supervisor to supervisor, the committee to committee. If you have a board in your university, they must have settled down some guidelines on which you have to write a research proposal. It it's a basic overview. It's a basic template that you need to have a title page, table of content, introduction. You need to have a literature review, research design, implications, sources, schedule. So these are the basic elements you need to address in your research proposals. Uh, you have different goals in your mind when you continue to proceed your research objectives. So do you have enough knowledge about the topic? uh, if you are well prepared, as it is a planning document, right? Consider it as a planning document, that you are planning your research, how you will proceed further. Okay, so as planned you are, to great planning comes great success. So the committee can't refuse your proposal if you are well planned, well aware about the social issues. So structure of the proposal comprised of the introduction, what we have already discussed, the literature review and the research gap. You have to find the research gap, right? So the template, the guidelines, if you know everything, so that your research would contribute to the scientific world or the researcher community. Some students, they ask me when they start their research that how many words we have to include in our research proposal. There is no any limitations unless your university or your supervisor guides you about, but more or less 2000 words to 3500 words is enough to write a research proposal. Now, uh, before start your writing your research proposal, you need to define your topic, right? It's up to the discipline you are associated with. So look at successful uh, thesis in your library. The research already have been conducted on the topic you are associated with, right? The more reading capabilities you have, the more you are ready to write a research proposal. The topic you will define your topic in that manner. So there are many of the dissertations present in your institute with your supervisor as well. So read it carefully. So you have to review, right? Review all the documents present already in your database. Then you have to finalize a list, right? So you can formulate a list, and it's okay to write down or narrow down in any time. But once you finalize your topic, stick to it. I would suggest don't back off from the topic, because when you are finalizing your topic, very much you have time investment on that topic as well. If you well covered, then you can finalize it carefully. Then you have to evaluate the efficacy of your research topic as well, right? So as much as people you can discuss and they can contribute valuable knowledge, valuable insights about that topic, and then you can finalize your personal topic as well, right? So if you back off from your topic when you have finalized it, so it shows that you don't have enough knowledge about that, or it is a signal of anxiety that you are not confident enough. But once you have finalized, stick to that. Now the research methodology, you need to uh, review other theses, what methodology they have adapted to conduct their research, and then you have to finalize your own methodology, okay, with reference to the others. It will depend upon the literature review, how much literature review you have gone through. So what will be your how will you proceed your research topic? How you will go through with the uh, with the finalization of your research. It will help you to settle down methodology about your topic and your capabilities as well. So one more thing, don't need to be very specific, okay? Just keep it a broader spectrum. For example, you are obviously proposing that in future, I'm going to perform these tests, I'm going to perform these surveys, but unfortunately, during your research time period, if your research proposal got approved, then there somehow some problems you faced in your future perspective. So you will not be able to complete the plans what you have mentioned in your methodology section. And if you are not able to adapt that technologies, so your thesis would get rejected, okay? So choose wisely with broader spectrum that the methodologies you are carrying out. For example, before COVID-19, some researchers, they mentioned in their research proposal that we will get the survey from that area, and but during the 2 or 3 years, everything was shut down. So what would be the risk factors in these cases? So keep it in your mind, keep it a broader sense. Now acquire all the requirements. There must be some guidelines in your university that so you need to collect that information, that details about the knowledge, about the guidelines provided by your supervisor as well. So if you are aware about all the guidelines and you are following all the things which have already been mentioned by your research community or committee, so and you need to understand what your supervisor wants from your area of study. So if you understand their mindset, what goals they have set for this specific study, you need to know all the requirements and then you will finalize your research proposal as per their will, right? As per the committee will, so that your research proposal will definitely be approved by your supervisor and your committee. Uh, First of all, the proposed title of it is very important to finalize your title. That is it related to your real life? Are you solving a real life problem or societal problem? Uh, is it interesting? Uh, is it specific or focused, or you have, a very in very broad spectrum, you have proposed a title, right? So it must be a catchy title. It must be precise. Your title must indicate that the gap you want to fill in the research community, it should be there, right? It should be informative, that you are contributing new knowledge. You are very confident enough to do it. So the existing knowledge, you are going to fill the gap, or the current controversies, you are going to solve all these. So I would suggest begin with a good title, right? Good title should contain topic, like what area you are covering, to whom you are addressing, the population, the context, the background, the methodology, how you are going to perform. So it must be very precise, and it must depicts all the research aspects, right? For example, a randomized controlled trial to improve social skills in young adults with autism spectrum disorder, the UCLA Peers program. A randomized controlled trial, what is this? It indicates the methodology to improve social skills. It is your topic. In young adults with autism spectrum, what it is? Population, that you are targeting young adults, right? And the UCLA Peers program, it is the context. So again, there is no word limit for the title, but it should be precise. Uh, but I'm not saying that not every all these aspects, like your population, your targeted audience, methodology is included. Some researchers, they design their topic differently, but keep it in mind, you can use these strategies as well when you are finalizing your title. So it must be specific and accurate, not too long, right? Um, and it should contain main idea. You can start your title with some action verb as well. For example, simulation of, comparison of, assessment of, right? Defining, identifying, screening. So these are some action verbs from which you can start your topic, your title. You can use some keywords that can be, identified by the search engine when you are searching some relevant, information from the Google or anything, what search engine you are using. So I would suggest, I would encourage to proceed, make sure your title would be a solid one, right? Now, then you have to write in some, university guidelines. It is mentioned that you have to write a summary. But I would suggest that write abstract or summary in the end of your proposal, right? Not in the beginning, but in list. It comes after your content. So it also not too long, maximum of 250 words. And it should cover all the specific research problem, your aims and objectives, what methodologies you are using, you are going to use, what results you are expecting from your study, and the audience to whom you are addressing, and your impact. You have to summarize it in one paragraph, a very short, briefing. Then introduction and the background, which is very, very important, right? Uh, it shows your knowledge about your topic. Okay, so keep it a very broad one, and then try to narrow down your study towards your specific goals. Okay, so initially when you start writing your introduction, you have to give the knowledge, what you have concepts in your mind about the topic. Okay, so in broader spectrum, not very much specific. So the key concepts you have to mention initially, then you will start specifying the the topic of your research, the problem, what you have chosen, the research gap, what you have identified. Okay, and the significance, how much significant your research would be, how it would be contributing to the society, right? Then you have to give a broader view about the research aims and research objectives, what you are aiming to do, what objectives you are focusing on. Then research question, what research questions are in your mind? Try to list down in your introduction section, and sub questions as well, you can write it. Now you have to give the literature review, right? So as I mentioned, that the more you have studied the findings of other scientists or the other researchers, the more precisely you are going to write your literature review. It's up to you, it's up to your skills. Like, so you have to mention some key works of the other scientists, what they have contributed. Okay, in which context they have applied that research. Then you have to find the research gap where you are going to fit. Emphasize on that many of the scientists, they have worked on that facility, but I would be the first person to contribute another knowledge, another specific information, another scientific theory, another innovative product I will contribute in the field of research. So you need to find out the research gap where you are going to fit in, right? So you you have to examine the methodologies. For example, I am a marine scientist. We worked on very different topics, like we prepared biodegradable plastics from a plant-based material. Then we, contributed different studies in biological aspects of the marine and oceanic environment. So I need to fill the gap. Plastic pollution, that the synthetic plastics, they contribute very hazardous effects in the society, for the human, for the life of animals, especially in the oceans. So we need to fill the gap. We tried to fill the gap which was existing in that community, that we brought a solution of the biodegradable films that can
Hello.
degrade in the time.
Hello, can you hear me, please?
Hello?
Sorry to take you back. I would want to ask this question. Probably if you can make more clarification on research questions. How to,
Sorry,
how to, yes, how to come up with solid research questions relating to your proposed topic. Thank you.
I can't hear you actually.
Dr.
Okay,
Asma,
I'm
saying she's needing more help in research questions. If you
Can
can
we
elaborate
take
more.
questions in the end?
Okay.
Sorry,
Dr. Asma, if you can
Mahi?
explain research questions
Mahi?
again. Uh,
Uh,
okay, I want
sorry.
more clarification on
Mahi, can
research
we take
questions.
questions?
Okay, okay, Dr. Asma. Okay.
Sorry.
Kindly wait, she's joining us again.
Hello.
Hi, Dr. Asma, can you hear us?
Oh, so sorry.
No
I
worries,
got
no worries.
disconnected. So, shall I continue and then we take question in the end?
Oh, we can do that. We can do that.
Okay. So I was discussing about the examination of the methodologies, what we are going to, set in our research proposal. The examination of methodologies, as it is a proposal, you are, you know, presenting in front of your jury, in front of your supervisor or your committee, and you haven't done any research, right? So it is an advance, document that in future what you are going to plan your research, so it would be more specific. Okay, it not very much information you can provide, but you can give an idea that we are going to use these kind of methodologies, these kind of tests, these kind of methods, what other researchers they have done in their research, and how we can produce our own strategy to continue our research. Then,
Dr. Asma, could you please
Ji?
share the screen?
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
Okay, let me. Okay.
Great.
All right. So you have to examine your methodologies, what you are planning to contribute your research. Then you have to catalog, to capture, to organize all the references from where the already present information is given in research journals, in articles, in books, in chapters as well. So you have to finalize, you have to list down, chalk down the references or bibliography. It is very necessary. Otherwise, you are not allowed to write any single sentence at your own. You need to give a reference, right? You need to give a reference of any researcher you have studied. And when you write your own thesis, you can give your own statement. But initially, in literature review, in introduction, in even in methodologies, you are following some other researchers' work. Must you have to keep it in your mind. I am unable to. There is some problem. Okay. Right. So, two main questions you need to answer. What is the gap in the knowledge that currently exists, and why does it need filling? Importance of your study. For example, in my MPhil thesis, I studied 350 samples from a phytoplankton, cruise that was conducted previously. They collected that samples, and I studied in the Sindh and Balochistan, two provinces, the coastline of Sindh and Balochistan, and there was a gap of the identification of the species, what species present in the 90 or I think 2000. And then in my PhD thesis, I contributed the same species but with different aspect. As a Tasman spirit oil spill was happened in 2004, and there were catastrophic effects of the oil in the oceanic environment. Then I studied what were the effects of that oil on the species diversity of the phytoplanktons I have studied previously, and then I am going to compare my studies that these much species were present previously, and now what effects that oil spill created on the composition of the phytoplanktons in that specific area. So there was a research gap, right? Many of the scientists, they work their own domain of their study. Some work on the animals. Many of the scientists, they count down the animals present in that specific area, what were the specific effects the spill created. But in my case, I worked on the comparative analysis of the existing species in that particular area. So what role your study would create it? How does this study fill the gap? Knowledge, where is the knowledge gap, right? Because in whole world, there are many researchers, many scientists, they are working on their own geographical area. For example, what study I have conducted, there are a lot of spills continuously happening in different countries. The species could be same, but the geographical area is different. So the knowledge gap is there. Then we compare our study with the other researchers to get an idea that whether we are going in the right direction, what results they got from their study, and what we are expecting that we are doing in our research. So you need to write the significance of your research. Originality is a main issue in your research. Don't copy paste others, research in your planning or your planning document, right? So there should be some, not some, but your research should be original, what you are going to do. For example, recently we worked on, I work on basically the diatoms or the seaweeds of the Karachi coast. And there is a research gap. I found out that we didn't focus on the product development of the species that are present in Karachi coast. We can utilize these species in different products that can contribute or that can solve the existing problem. For example, we gone through malaria, dengue, these kind of diseases, the infections we can observe, and we do have a lot of potential coastline. They have a very specific indigenous problem solving substances present in our coastline. Why not we can utilize them to design our organic uh, uh, fertilizers or organic uh, uh, solutions or organic ointments. So I found out the gap that there are research, but the basic research is carried out, but not the specific towards the product development. Then we start doing our research and on this. So you need to know the significance of your research and the originality aspect as well. What value you are adding through your research in the community of the researcher or scientific world. Try to find the aspects which no one did it, but it is also a reality that we can't, or somehow we do a replicative research which conducted in different geographical area, and then we are trying to start paving the way of the researchers in our personal geographical conditions. So you need to conceptualize your research in a way that it must be original. It doesn't mean that the question is new, but approached like no one has done it before. The approach, what you are uh, uh, creating in your planning document. For example, as I mentioned, that we prepared biodegradable plastics. It was not the new topic, but in different countries, many of the scientists, many of the researchers, they worked on that, but to utilize the specific plant-based material from their area, because there are different species present in other environments. We worked in our aspect, we formulated that biodegradable plastics from our personal coastline, the Pakistan coastline, and that was uh, based on the species what we produce in our coastal community. So in this way, your research can be different, can be unique, uh, and they can add value to your specific community. And then you can uh, uh, introduce your research to other areas. So the aims and the impact of your research, you should know that what you are going to research, what would be the impact you are creating in the scientific world. you need to know the target audience to whom you are addressing, right? Uh, who you want to reach by this research. For example, if I am talking about my research, biodegradable plastics, so the audience would be anyone can use that, specifically those people who are the advocates of organic substances, and they want to uh, uh, they want to save their environment by not using the synthetic plastics, which are creating hazards in their life as well. So define the target audience clearly. For example, if you are going to describe, or you are going to uh, uh, plan a product in game industry, maybe you at the end of your thesis, you are defining an app for the gaming, of the your target audience would be the children, okay, or some adults as well who are very much interested in mobile applications and especially games as well. For example, if you are creating any impact on climate change, how you are going to implicate, how you are going to survey uh, your planning document, you are designing your survey to the coastal community, to the more poverty areas, underprivileged areas. So you need to define your audiences, right? Okay, to whom you are targeting and to whom you are creating a value, how to uplift their life. The easiest the target audience is defined, the more your research is enjoyable, right? Don't take it as a burden. Do it as your passion, as you are passionate enough to create an impact on the society. Uh, Consider your motives and why you feel this group should be targeted. Why I'm targeting that specific group. So you need to clarify in your mind that what are your objectives, what are your aims in future, what you are going to contribute. So knowing why you want to reach a particular group can provide insights that will help develop an effective study. Why should they be interested in my research? For example, I have formulated an ointment to minimize the risk of the dengue and malaria. So who will be the target audience? Obviously, everyone can utilize that, but who is interested to invest in my research? Obviously, the industrial people, how I can commercialize it. Being a researcher, I don't know how to commercialize my product. So we need to convince the specific group of people that this ointment is very effective if you are utilize that. It is very organic, it is no any synthetic material is involved in this. The existing ointments which are available in the market, they are synthetic one, they have hazardous effects, but mine is totally organic. It is very much friendly to your skin. It is very beneficial for any type of skin, even children, even adults, even elderly people as well. So we need target audience in our mind. We need the interested people who will join hands with you in future to commercialize your research. So you need to have a specific background about the audience. Now, the what results you are expecting from your research. Don't enter in the research community if you don't have any aim to pursue your research. There should be some ultimate goals in your mind that you are going to introduce a product, you are formulating guidelines for some community, you are designing any manual, any app, any application, any tool, you are contributing, any game, any type of equation, methodology in how you are going to formalize or how you are going to define your research. Are you planning a theory? Are you write a theory? We have already gone through different theories in our academic career. So are you contributing your another theory based upon your research planning? Are you formulating any strategy to, for example, for climate change, how you are contributing your valuable insights, how you strategize your research, how you make a policy, any policy document you are planning. So the outcome of the result, some people, they do research for the sake of their recognition, for the sake of their promotion, that we write research article and it is enough. No, please broaden your spectrum and try to imagine what results, what impact you are going to create in the scientific world or researchers community, because not everyone is eligible to do research. Obviously, in your class, not every student is good enough in doing research and they take that initiative. It is a very complicated task. It is not an easy task. It is a journey towards contributing something new. So you have a very much responsibility on your head, on your shoulders, that it should be original, it should be impact creating, it should be value addition, right, in the community. So research methodology section, how you are going to plan your methodologies. So it is the basic understanding only, as I mentioned earlier, that it is a planning document, that you are planning your research. You haven't conducted yet. So you don't know about the exact outcome or exact you can distract or you can add different methodologies in your own planning document. That's why I mentioned that make it broader view, not a specific, right? So it would be very tricky later on, that when you are finalizing your thesis, because the committee will match your planning document with your thesis, that the goals you presented, the methodologies you prescribed, have you done it in your thesis or not? If any point got missing, then you will not be able to pass your examination of your final thesis, right? So keep it in mind that these are your basic understanding. Keep it in broader spectrum. Then you need to clarify that what you are going to plan your research. How is it qualitative? Means, are you counting enough? For example, my research was to count down how many diatom species present in different layers of the oceans in Sindh and Balochistan. Right, there are different layering in oceans about the height of the ocean. So I was counting down, and then in PhD, I was counted how many species now present after the spill, what was the effects on the presence of that species as well. Then sometime you will conduct quantitative quantitative analysis. Some research comprised of descriptive, aspects, correlational. You compare your studies with some other existing knowledges. In scientific studies, you need to design experiment to get the results or to get the data of your prescribed title. So how the data you are gathering, either qualitative or quantitative, right? Or descriptive, correlational or experimental. So what data you got in your research, then you will analyze that data with specific softwares are available, and with specific strategies you will finalize your data. Then you have to do the data analysis, and you will get the final results, the final outcome of the research you can get. So these are some methodologies what we have already discussed. Then you need to manage your research. You need to give a Gantt chart in reference that what work packages you have defined, that in this duration I will do this, and then design my research. For example, if I talk about my research, we went through the oceanic environment, then we collect samples, we take samples in our lab, and then we study under microscope, then we count it down. So I need to divide my work packages, that in these months I will collect my data, then I will analyze my data, then I will write it down in my thesis. So you need to describe how you will proceed, right, in your limited timeline. You must have I think 2 years of thesis timelines. In our case, in master's thesis, you have one year to do research and then final submission. In MPhil, in case of MPhil thesis, you have, I think, minimum of 3 years time period, and PhD though you have 5 years time period. So you need to manage, or you need to describe what you have chosen, what methodologies you have chosen, what materials and methods you are going to utilize. You need to put it in your time duration, how you will proceed your research. So time management is very important. You have to show your supervisor or your committee that you are committed enough to do what you are proposing. You will definitely complete your research in timely manner. So they will, obviously, the chances of approval will be more and more. So then you need to finalize the checklist. Is your title meaningful? At the end, I would suggest read it many times. Your proposal need to be focused on, or you can take suggestion from your colleagues, take suggestion from other teachers, other supervisors, then they can, pointing out your mistakes. Because if I'm writing something, it is very dear to me. I don't want to uh, uh, take out any mistakes from it. But if another person is reading this, that would be the critical analysis. So it is very important to take critics review on your research proposal, whether you have covered all the aspects in your, document. So it should be obviously meaningful title. Do you clearly define the problem? What problem exists? Have you clearly defined? And what the solution other scientists, other researchers, they have already provided? And where is the gap you are going to fit in that gap, that I am going to contribute in this manner, which we feel that it hasn't been done by any other researcher. Your aims should be clear, right? um, your objectives should be clear, measurable. So the more planned you are, the more chance of approval of your proposal would be, and the more value you are going to create in the community. You need to clarify that the methods you are using are applicable or not. If you are taking some methods from other scientists and you don't have that facility, or they are not applicable on your area of research, so it is very important to ponder over all these aspects, that do it whatever you can do, and what suits you, what suits your research. Is timetable realistic? What you are going to mention in your Gantt chart, that 2 months for this, 2 months for this, but realistic approach you should adapt. For example, I'm giving that I will survey 350 samples in 2 months. Matlab, I have given these kind of timelines, but it is realistically not possible for me, because there are some unavoidable circumstances I can face. So make it broader, right? So keep it in your mind that the risk factors you can face in your future. No one predict your future, that how can be. For example, like in COVID-19, no one was aware about what would happen. Everything was shutting down. We can't go outside. We can't do our research. We can't design our experiment. We can't launch our experiments. We are at home. What can we do? So be realistic and take margin of that time period in your work packages. So have you finalized the references section, which is very important? Otherwise, you will plagiarize, you will commit plagiarism. That is a crime in my point of view, and in the researchers community, that we are not allowed to write any other statement at my own. We need to give acknowledgement of some other researchers that they have did this type of material in their case, and now we are going this, right? So so the project outline must be clear. As I told you earlier, your proposal must describe where you will start, a very preliminary stage, or some data you have already conducted, or your study is a continuation of another person's study, or you are the only one to initiate that research topic or that research idea, and then how will you step by step proceed, and what target goals you have set, what you need to achieve that goals, right? And where you have to finalize your dreams, what you're expecting. So at the end, bibliography, as I told you earlier, then at the end you need to list down all the references what you used in your text, and these references should be new one. uh, uh, Avoid using too old references. It is good to write old references, that what books you have studied, what articles you have studied, you in literature review, but try to inculcate recent knowledge as well, that it shows that you have covered all the, or most of the, articles and contributions in your study, and then you will be more confident that yes, you have gone through all the literature what is available. Then you will rightly find the gap, right? So in bibliography you will write all the references in the form of list, and then your final proposal is in this form, like the title, summary, abstract. You can write the keywords, problem statement, goals, specific objectives. It is again a very uh, broader spectrum. It is an organizational chart, like introduction section, what, how, why. You need to describe literature review, why and how, methodology, how you are going to do your research, preliminary data, what data you have gathered from your research or your methods, what you have attained. Then statement of limitations, what your research will do, alternatives. Then you need to write, it's basically an overview when you are proposing your thesis, but in your proposal, research proposal section, you have to write down all these things as well, and then you will conclude your research proposal. So now the floor is open for the questions, and we can take questions what you want to. Please, Mahin.
Yes, Miss Flashette, could you please ask the question?
The voice is very slow, please. Sorry.
Okay, Dr. Asma, thank you for that very rich presentation. I hope I'm clear enough. Am I clear? Can you hear me properly? Can you hear me properly?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Asma. That was a very rich presentation. Now, my question is still on research questions now. I would want you to be more practical, like maybe use one of your topics and then draw research questions so that I would know more on how to come up with good research questions. Thank you.
Mahin, there's some distortion. I didn't understand what he asked.
Dr. Asma, can you check the chat box?
I can.
Yeah.
Let me.
Okay, I'm saying still on research questions now. Research questions. I would want you to be more practicable now. Maybe you use one of your topics and draw research questions to explain better on how to come up with research questions.
questions, research questions, right?
Yes.
Okay, in which aspect you are asking about the research question? As I discussed, that what gap you are finding out in the existing knowledge from where you can find out the questions of the research. For example, I'm setting it. The doctors, one of the doctor, he was getting more patients for the pimple problem, right? Many of the people, they come to them and they ask to remove the problem and all these. There are a lot of 25 or 30 patients, they got the pimples issue. And when they ask them, so what is your habit? What is your so most of the patients, they say that we take chocolates in our daily routine. So then they predict that, with the data they predict that chocolate is the basic problem. Intake of the chocolate is the basic problem to create pimples. Is it? Okay, now we need to do research on that aspect. Then we take samples. If maybe we can take blood samples from them, that what are the constituents of that chocolate that is responsible for the problem of the pimple issue. Similarly, the questions raise from obviously the problem what we see in our surrounding. If I talk about like Tasmania spirit oil spill, we know that the spills, they do create a very catastrophic effects on the livelihoods or the life of living organisms. So if the Tasman spirit oil spill was happened in 2004, and then question is our came to in our mind that is this spill is responsible for the growth of this species, right? So these try to raise that questions in your mind. Your topic defines your question, that in which area of the research there is a gap, and what gap you have found out. Those questions you need to answer in your research, right? So in this way, it's up to your topic, what topic you are designing in your mind and in your proposal. Then you can get the questions from them.
Dr. Asma, there was one more question. I don't remember that name. I think it was, I don't know. I will recall the name and I'll write it in the chat box. She asked about what's the difference between background and literature review when you're
Okay,
writing.
okay. See, the background is what I know about my topic. Your topic, you need to differentiate your topic. You need to divide your topic in different aspects. For example, species composition of diatoms in Sindh and Balochistan coast, right? My topic covers marine life, coastlines, uh, phytoplanktons. So the background is that I am going to give the information about our Pakistan coastline. It comprised of Sindh and Balochistan, and what type of species are present over there. There are a lot of different animal and plant-like organisms present. It is a general knowledge, but depends upon, and it will be associated with the research of other researcher, right? the information they have created, that is the background knowledge, what I know. But what other have created or other have contributed, the literature review is that what results other scientists they have predicted in their research. Okay, initial information, the background knowledge, we know the plastic pollution is very hazard and it takes decades to decompose, and everything is in that background. Then uh, then I narrow down my research towards the literature review. When I come to my topic, when I come to my specific topic, then I start utilizing the literature survey aspects of other scientists. For example, uh, I'm writing the background of my research, the the marine and freshwater, these type of communities are there. It's comprised of uh, some example miles of kilometer of the coastline. This is the background knowledge, and I'm going to narrow down my background survey, and then I start literature review in that sense that I'm doing research in my specific of the phytoplanktons. Now, in the domain of phytoplanktons, these scientists, they worked in their specific area, they got that results, they have contributed in this manner in the knowledge of where the gap is this, and I'm going to fill that gap. So background, it's just like a storytelling, right? So if you are not going to predict the background, the reader can't predict what you are going to represent. For example, it's just like a storytelling. I'm telling you two types of stories, right? Then you try to compare it in your own aspects. Number one, there were some ducklings in a jungle. They gone through an examination of mm, uh, climbing on the tree, and they got fail, and the other owl was there, and when he gone through the examination of the flying, he got the flying colors in that examination. This was the one aspect. The other is, there was a committee in a jungle. The elderly animals were sitting, and they were discussing that what's the difference between our children and the human children, why they are very smart, our children are not smarter enough as compared to the animals. Then they decided, and someone shared that the humans, in human beings, children go to school. So they decided that we should have a school in our community so that our children can get more benefited from the awareness they can. Then they start examination, and with respect to the abilities all the childrens they have. Ducklings, they can swim. Owl, they can fly. Cats and other animals. Then when duckling gone through the examination of swimming, he or she got flying colors in there. So you knew the background of the topic what I was, right? If you are not going to give a background of the research, the reader can't associate it with the ideology of yours. Okay, so the general information, but the existing knowledge in the scientific articles or books will followed by the literature review, the present on the specific methodologies what they other scientists do in their research. I hope you got the point.
Dr. Asma, there's one more question from Farfunda, is that
Mhm.
the research framework. She needs more clarity on research framework, how she can make one.
Okay. See, the research framework is obviously a design what you are going to do in your research, how you will analyze or how will you propose the background, the title, the all the things, the aspects, how you will go the research analysis. So all these constituents inculcate in your research framework. Okay.
Dr. Asma, short difference between research problem and literature gap.
Okay. Research problem and
literature.
Literature
gap.
Literature gap?
I think it's literature review. It's more of a literature review, not literature gap.
Literature review.
No, literature gap. Literature gap.
Literature gap. I think they both are related to each other, right? The gap, if there is a gap in the literature, existing knowledge, then the questions, they arise. Okay, then the problems, what you are, for example, in COVID-19, no one knew about the symptoms, no one knew about what is happening with them. Every human, every person has their own metabolic activities in their body. So as per their metabolism, they shown their own symptoms. So there was a gap that no one knew about the coronavirus, obviously. Then the problem was that many of the people, they were dying due to that specific virus, and no one knew about that virus. Then they found out the gap in the research. Then they start doing data collection. They observe the patient's problems, what they are facing, and then the existing knowledge was there with other viruses. They compare that viruses in that manner, right? What were the symptoms? What were the catastrophic effects? What they created? And the similar viral, studies was there. They compare it and then found out the solution towards the vaccine, how we can be secure ourselves from the vaccine, right? So there was a research problem. Obviously, coronavirus was a research problem. It was not existed before. It was creating devastating effects on the human lives. So then they start, and there was a literature gap, obviously, that these viruses, how they, what is the structure of that viruses, how they prevail in our community. So these are the, different things, or and somehow they can correlate with each other.
Dr. Asma, we have Sabala Javed. She has a question with you. Ms. Sabala, please.
Yes.
He is here, but she's not talking. Okay, I can ask another question. That is, the difference between...
Can I talk now?
Oh, yeah, you can. She's here. Yeah.
Okay, Miss, I have one question that can you say or can you tell me some more information about type of research proposal? Because you said about two type, this type was thesis that it was master's degree, and dissertation that it was a doctoral degree. So can you say, or can we, for example, write another research type?
Generally, there are these type of research proposals other than funding proposals, right? Sometimes we propose our research to some community or the stakeholders to get involved in our research activities as well. They need we need some funding, some type of funding from them. We don't have enough resources to carry out our research, so that we can, but for academic purpose or for the degree purposes, there are obviously we do have master's thesis, master's proposal, MPhil, which is we can say the synopsis as well, that it is a planning document what we are going to do. These are for the degree purposes. Some proposals are for the betterment for your research lab as well, like your faculty members. They plan a document, or they write a funding proposal, research funding proposal for the international or national funding agencies, or your own university as well, that he or she can take students to pursue the specific topic or specific kind of research area what they want to conduct or contribute in the research field. So other than funding proposal for the students, for the sake of the students, so these are the master's, MPhil, and PhD thesis, or the funding or the proposal, research proposals.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Asma. Dr. Asma, could you please help our candidates to understand what's the difference between conceptual and theoretical frameworks?
Okay, conceptual and theoretical frameworks, that is basically uh, your research, if it is based on some kind of uh, theoretical approaches, right? And some researches are very much conceptual, right? For example, it depends on the person. It depends on basically your supervisor, the field of interest. So the representation of the relationship you expect to see between your variables, or the characteristics, or the properties that you want to study. So that is the conceptual framework. Okay. So that can be written or visualized, and are generally developed based on a literature review of existing studies about your topic. That is the conceptual. You are clearing the concept or the representation of the relationship you are going to expect between your variables, or the characters, or the properties that you want to study, right? The existing variables are there, and you are comparing your variables with the other which has already been existed in the knowledge of world. As far as theoretical framework is concerned, theoretical framework is basically a foundation review of existing theories, the theories which has already been established with other persons, that serves as a roadmap to develop the arguments you will use in your own work, right? So the theories which has already been existed, example Darwin theories, there are a lot of theories, gravitational law and all these things. So the you are going to make a build a foundation review, right, of the existing theories that serves as a roadmap to develop your own arguments in your own work. Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Asma. We have a very interesting question. That is, would human research, is human research is valuable as compared to AI research now?
Okay. AI research, for me, it depends on person to person. That I think human research is more valuable. We can predict that AI research are more, accurate, accurately designed, or but there is some, aspects in human research we can modify them as per the situation what we are facing. So I think human research is more valuably contributed than the AI research. It depends on the thinking of other researchers.
Right. I hope you all got your questions answered. Anybody else have any questions? Please ask. But Dr. Asma, I believe with time, AI will give us a bit of a competition.
Yeah.
Once it's taught the feeling of sensibility like the human does, the human factor, then it's a game changer. At this moment, we have no as such competition as people are thinking.
Right. Absolutely. Actually, the topic we have covered is very, broad, and we can discuss every element individually, right? So we can have individual workshop on literature review, special workshops on methodologies, how we can define. We can have another session with the strategies what we have to create, which can create an impact on the research. So it is a different course basically, which we study in our academic career. So I think the only one workshop is not enough for me to get all the information, and obviously it varies person to person, the field of study what they are pursuing. So we can have one-to-one session as well, if anybody can pursue.
All right, so we don't have any questions. Dr. Asma, thank you very, very much. And we
You are
really
welcome.
hope that you help us more in the field of research, because it's such a vast topic, as you said. Each topic needs in-depth
Yeah.
understanding and communication. So we have candidates today, and we all wish to see you again in future. So on behalf of all of us, thank you very much, Dr. Asma, for your time.
thank you for inviting me today to address a lovely audience. The very promising students I found out, and very good questions they raised during this session. And I hope I'm not a teacher, very good teacher, but I what I have learned from my experience, I just want to share it with the upcoming young, innovative minded people to solve their problems. So thank you very much. And I wish to join you in later half as well.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for your time. Thank you, Dr. Asma, again. Catch you.